D.C.
A 13 News Now investigation.
You understand all that, right?
Prosecutors say this police interrogation went too far. We ask,
do you think this interview or interrogation crossed the line?
it's a done deal. Shipyard workers have 14.9 billion reasons to be happy tonight.
A fiery debate over abortion at the State House. I'm hearing from local groups on both sides.
A cure for cancer in a year?
And just look at how many headlines it's dominated. But is it true?
Tonight, the Verify team is on it.
Through the third trimester. Third trimester goes all the way up to 40 weeks.
Okay, but to the end of the third trimester.
Yep, I don't think we have a limit in the bill.
Anti-abortion activists fired up over this piece of legislation allowing late-term abortions in Virginia. That is our top story at 11 o'clock. Thanks for staying up. I'm David Allen. This is a tough topic that nearly everyone has a stance on. But no matter how you feel about it, what happened in Richmond is getting attention from around the world. Here's what happened. Delegate Kathy Tran introduced a bill allowing abortions at any point during pregnancy, including up until the point of childbirth. Both Governor Ralph Northam and House Speaker Kirk Cox are sounding off.
The infant would be delivered. The infant would be kept comfortable. The infant would be resuscitated if that's what the mother and the family desired. And then a discussion would ensue between the physicians and the mother.
Words have meaning. You saw the tape. I think he was very clear in what he said, and I think that was very disturbing.
Keep this in mind. All 100 delegates are up for re-election this year. Conservative leaders warn if Democrats flip the House in November, a bill like this could become law. The bill didn't make it out of subcommittee, but the debate isn't over. Pro-life and pro-choice groups in Hampton Roads have lots to say, and they're talking to 13 News Now. Robert Boyd starts us off tonight.
Paige Coulter is the director of nursing at the Kimes Center in Greenbrier. The center sees about 1,800 patients a year, most of them facing unplanned pregnancies. The center doesn't perform abortions. They are a life-affirming organization and are disturbed by the governor's comments regarding what they call infanticide.
If there's a baby born alive, I think that baby deserves a lot more than just being made comfortable, as the governor would say, but kept alive and well. So that's my first concern, is for that baby.
But Michelle Wooten of Narrow Pro-Choice Virginia says pro-life groups are blowing the governor's comments out of proportion.
Women who are seeking an abortion that far into pregnancy, there's something medically wrong. Most women are wanting to keep their pregnancy, but they have no choice.
Coulter says late-term abortions pose their own set of health risks, and she says the mental effects are immeasurable.
You get a rush of hormones after delivery that just puts you in mama bear mode. You want to protect everything. You bond with that child. To let your child sit there and not be resuscitated or not helped, I have concern for that mom.
Pro-Choice Virginia says the bottom line is the governor wants women to have the right to make the best decisions for themselves, and it's unfair to twist his words for political gain.
Yeah, it can be very frustrating from the perspective of someone who actually educates on it, because it's about the issue, and it's about people, it's about Virginians, it's about real people's lives, and it's about real people's lives at stake.
Robert, this is such a politically polarizing issue. Is there anything that both sides agree on?
Actually, there was, David. They both agreed on education is the key. If a woman does get pregnant, they need to know all of their options and be very informed. That way they can make the right decision for them and know the risks of that decision that they make.
Robert, thanks. This continues to be a hot topic. We asked earlier when you think the latest a woman should be able to have an abortion. The majority of you say you don't support abortion. The conversation continues online. Chime in on Facebook and Twitter. It's a big deal. $14.9 billion big. The Navy signs a contract for 2 carriers to be built at Newport News Shipbuilding. We've been telling you about this block buy for a while now. The hope is the deal will speed up efforts to build a fleet of 12 carriers and 355 ships. The move could save taxpayers between $2 and $4 billion. On top of that, it provides long-term stability for Hampton Roads' largest private employer.
This is a significant step towards building these ships more affordably.
We're very happy with the Navy's willingness to partner with us to find the best acquisition approach to provide our nation with these much-needed aircraft carriers more affordably, more efficiently, and in the case of this two-ship buy, more rapidly.
The two Ford-class carriers will be the Future Enterprise and a yet-to-be-named CVN-81. Let's take you live to Virginia Beach Town Center, street level. A new addition is on the way. We've learned Taste, the sandwich, salad, and goodies place, will open here by the end of the year. Last fall, Armada Hoffler's CEO, Lou Haddad, told me he's had his eye on adding places where you can get a quick bite to eat.
It's interesting that the market continually evolves. And what we're focusing on right now in the very near term is we have a demand for more fast casual restaurants, people that want to come and dine quickly and not spend a lot of money, as opposed to a leisurely dinner at a Ruth Chris or such. So we're adding some fast casual.
Taste is based right here in Hampton Roads. The new shop will be near the Town Center fountain. Staying in Virginia Beach, a church and civic league are stepping up to help some kids pay down their lunch debt. All new tonight, Chanu Her is in Kempsville with the story.
There are Tootsie Rolls, lollipops.
There's a lot of love to spread around as Valentine's Day approaches. That's where Robin Wolf.
Some people want it to remain anonymous, and some do not.
And the Carol Ann Farms Arrowhead Civic League comes into play.
We're going to start delivering them February 1st up until the 14th.
For $5, anyone can buy one of these homemade bags, and the Civic League will deliver them in the neighborhoods in the Carol Ann Farms and Arrowhead area. A little token of love for someone special.
We will write on here who they're to and who they're from.
But these little bags will be showing a lot of love beyond the person getting one, a reach wide enough to impact those not even on the receiving end of the gift.
And we decided to share that and pay off school lunches at Arrowhead Elementary.
The money coming in from these bags will wipe away that school lunch debt, which is about $700. Thanks to Kempsville Christian Church, they're already a good portion there.
When we noticed that the leadership in our community, we reached out to Robin. She's been wonderful, and in that conversation, we found a bridge that we can build to be a part of helping.
Senior Pastor Josh Childress and his church have pre-ordered 100 bags, doing their part to help push forward a good cause.
We have members here that are part of that school, and we know in our own locality, in our own community here, because of the reach we have, and I know that the Civic League sees this too, there are families that are in need.
A cause that shows love isn't just reserved for February 14th.
We're all about our community. This is a wonderful opportunity to help.
All right, Chanu Her live in Kempsville tonight. No need to double check your rearview mirror. This is what Norfolk's new police cruisers look like. The department unveiled their new look today on Facebook Live. So why the blue and white? Corporal Pickering lets us in on the secret.
The colors for this may have been inspired by our own Chief Boone's alma mater, so you may want to look into that.
Any guesses? Well, that'd be Georgia Southern University. Norfolk police say all of their vehicles will carry the new paint job by the end of the year. Is it a medical breakthrough of our generation or a claim blown out of proportion? Those are the questions surrounding this viral claim that researchers will have a cure for cancer within the year. Jason Puckett and the Verified team is tackling this one.
Wow, what a claim. Cancer cured within the year. And just look at how many headlines it's dominated. But is it true? Well, here's where it started. A proof of concept by Israeli-based AEBI. Without going into too much science jargon, they claim to have found a way to target and wipe out cancer cells without affecting healthy cells. And they told the Jerusalem Post that they'd have a complete cure for cancer within a year. So here's where some red flags start popping up. This is the only publication of their data so far. 2 charts, 10 pictures, and some text explaining the basics. Now this is a typical medical publication. Dozens, even hundreds of pages of research, notation, and explanation of how the process was done. Right now, experts can't even analyze the AEBI data because they don't know how it was gathered. We reached out to the American Cancer Society, who sent us to a statement by Deputy Chief Dr. Leonard Lichtenfeld. He pointed out that the data has not been published or subject to review, critique, or support from other researchers. The new AEBI method has been been tested by others and is just beginning the lengthy process of clinical trials. That will take much more than a year, and the experiment was only on mice. No human tests have been performed yet. With the lack of any concrete evidence or methodology and the skepticism of experts at the American Cancer Society, we're going to go a rare route here and call this unverified. Simply put, it's impossible to prove this is true or false at this point. And as Dr. Lichtenfeld wrote, this is far from proven as a treatment, let alone a cure. Now, there's nothing wrong with remaining hopeful, but we'd also encourage skepticism until more evidence comes out or a year passes. With your Verify, I'm Jason Puckett.
Suffering through a post-shutdown hangover, it's tax time. Did you get your W-2 yet? Here's our advice. Don't wait to file your taxes ahead of that April 15th deadline. The IRS is struggling to get through a backlog of documents thanks to the shutdown, and there's still a possibility the government could close again soon. Speaking of the shutdown, House Democrats presented an offer today that has no money for President Trump's border wall. No real surprise there. The president insists any plan without a border wall is a waste of time. Lawmakers are scheduled to meet again next week. They have until February 15th to strike a deal, or we are in for another partial government shutdown. Now to a 13 News Now investigation and a police interrogation so flawed, prosecutors had to drop the case.
You know where he's currently at? In a grave.
Did the detective cross the line while interviewing this teenager? We take that question to top police brass. That answer plus much more as 13 News Now continues this Thursday night.
Join us Tuesday at 11 as we tell the story of the first Africans to arrive in English North America, right here on the shores of Hampton Roads. Don't miss this exclusive feature Tuesday at 11 on 13 News Now.
This week on Friday Flavor, there are 8 slices in one Benny's pizza. Enough to feed everyone at your big game feast.
It's a good idea to clean your trunk out, and usually your pizza should fit.
Friday Flavor on 13 News Now Daybreak.
Weather can change just like that. That's why the all-new Nissan Altima has all-wheel drive available for the first time ever. It's tech you can't get in a Accord or Camry and can respond instantly to changing conditions by sending power to each wheel to help you stay in control. The all-new 2019 Nissan Altima. Impossibly smart.
Get a low $239 per month lease on Altima or get 0% financing for up to 60 months on 14 models.
Now the most exciting tech you own is in your driveway.
Criminal charges had to be dropped in Newport News. Prosecutors and defense attorneys say it's because of a detective's, quote, bad interrogation. The actions drawing scrutiny took place during a suspect interview, and that suspect was a young teenager, a kid only in middle school. 13 News Now investigative reporter Laura Geller joins us with the story.
In this video obtained only by 13 News Now, you're not going to see anyone beaten. There are no bruises or broken bones as evidence of abuse. But lawyers argued and a judge agreed this interrogation was such a violation of the teen's rights, they had no choice but to throw out the evidence and drop the charges. This teen and his mother wanted you to see this video because they believe the community should know what sometimes happens in these situations.
14-year-old Gabriel is arrested on suspicion of breaking and entering and stealing guns from a home in Newport News. He's brought into this small room at the police department and left twisting in handcuffs for almost an hour and a half.
I think it's very clear that this child's constitutional rights were violated.
It's just the start of Public Defender David Lee's problems with this interrogation. Detective H.T. Troon comes in and reads Gabriel his Miranda rights. It takes less than 10 seconds.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have a right to speak with an attorney and have one present during questioning. If you can't afford one, one be appointed for you.
Newport News Police Department's own documents on Miranda rights for juveniles advise detectives evaluate the child's understanding. Ask him to repeat them back to you. Troon says,
You understand all that, right?
The 14-year-old briefly nods. Troon moves on.
It might be one thing if this was a 41-year-old long-term drug dealer who's been in a prison multiple times. What you have is literally a middle school 14-year-old.
Trung pulls out photos of other kids he says he sent to juvie. He talks about the possible consequences of serving time.
You know where he's currently at? In a grave.
Lawyers tell us that could be a violation right there. By law, juvenile sentencing info is supposed to be private. What happens next is something Lee says he's never seen before.
There are no such thing as co-ed prison. The women that they have in prison, the women, they were not women, Gabrielle. You know what I'm talking about.
He's speaking to a youngster who's 14, slender with long hair. I think this is a clear suggestion of prison rape.
Trung literally backs Gabriel into a corner, so close their knees are interlocked. And after almost 7.5 hours in a room at the police department with just a few breaks, Gabriel writes an apology note to the victims.
That is calculated to wear down, overcome any resistance to where a child is likely to, under this kind of pressure, admit to anything.
Lee believes there's no question this is a case of coercion.
The justice system doesn't work well if the innocent people end up getting convicted, while the people who actually commit crimes go free. That's the danger. We get the wrong person, which means the right person is still out on the street, and justice isn't served.
And for Gabriel's charges in court, the prosecutor specifically said the interests of justice would not be served if this case were to move forward. We took the concerns directly to Newport News Police Chief Steve Drew.
I can understand where he's coming from. I can understand some of the concerns that would be bringing this up in front of a jury, in front of a judge.
Do you think this interview or interrogation crossed the line?
I think that's a hard question. Do I feel like it crossed the line? I think I would answer that I think there were some things that I would like to see tweaked and different, and that I think we can always do better.
Drew doesn't agree with every observation Gabriel's attorney made about the interrogation. He tells me he talked with Detective Trung and his supervisors about exactly what happened in that room.
Do you think he should be interviewing juveniles?
I'm not at a point where I feel like I have a problem. I have to remove it.
Will there be any discipline for him?
I don't think this is a discipline issue. I think this is a training issue and a bigger picture. Not Detective Trong, but our whole department.
After watching the video, Drew believes some of that training should focus on making sure everyone understands their Miranda rights, no matter how long it takes. He also wants his people thinking about how a kid might perceive a detective's words or body language in an interview.
I'm not just not looking for that we want a confession, right? Or that I want the truth. But I want to do that in an ethical and moral way.
Drew plans to reach out to experts for their take on this situation and best practices. The chief also reached out to Gabriel's mom and is hoping to spend time with both of them after this.
The totality is, what can we do better and how can we improve? And I think when we're willing to ask those questions and look for those answers, that's what makes us a better organization.
We sat down with the chief for about 35 minutes. Of course, not all of that fits into a story, so we put his entire interview on our website for you. We also emailed Detective Trung directly to see if he would talk to us about this video, but he did not respond. Laura Geller, 13 News Now.
Now to your forecast, and changes on the way. Taking a live look at downtown Norfolk on this chilly night. How cold is it? Well, take a look for yourself right there. We're below the freezing point across the board, but warmer temperatures are on the way. Jeff, how long until they get here?
Well, we're starting to see the trend even tonight. I was just comparing right now to yesterday, and it's just about equal, if not even colder tonight in a few spots than it was last night. But don't worry, we're not going to get anywhere near the overnight lows that we did last night. So that's the first change. You can see, again, temperatures out there are going to drop down versus last night where they were in the teens almost everywhere. We're going to be 24 tonight. So clear and cold, and with light winds, we're going to